Greetings, everyone. So, today I just wanted to talk about narcissistic information collection. I was thinking about ideas yesterday. So, a person that is more toxic, narcissistic in nature, manipulative, they like to collect information. I personally think a lot of times when the love bombing stage is going on, they are collecting a lot. Have you guys ever had the experience where you went out, okay, maybe it is a work experience, like you start a new job and one of your coworkers is asking you all kinds of personal questions, which, first of all, at a workplace, you shouldn't be doing too much of that. And secondly, it's boundaries. So back in the day when I had no boundaries, I would have answered some of these questions. But a more narcissistic person is going to ask really personal questions immediately. And if you didn't know what narcissism was, or this is like when you're young and naive, you kind of feel something in your stomach saying something feels weird here. Something feels off. Something doesn't feel good. And you're not really sure exactly what it is. But you know, let's just say it's a woman, working at a new job. And one of her male coworkers is asking her all kinds of questions like, do you have your own apartment? Do you live alone? Things like that. Really something to be careful of. And me personally, what I know now, that guy's looking for a place to stay. I actually had a really negative experience a few years ago. Well, that's when I was trying Match. I'm considering trying some more dating sites, but man, I've had some extremely negative experiences. And now that I know what narcissism is, I'm like kind of thinking a lot of the guys that I met, that's what they were. So I agreed to go on a date with this guy, and I always pick public places. So I went to a coffee shop that I really like. I actually miss that coffee shop. And we get there. I can't remember if I got there first. I think I might have gotten there first. I can't remember if I bought my own coffee or if he bought my coffee. I think I let him buy it for me. I like to do that. That's old-fashioned. I like that. But initially I thought like maybe we would be a good match because we're both veterans, for one. And granted, veterans are all across the board, all over the place. But it's kind of a nice thing to have in common, I think, sometimes. And he worked in the medical field. And I was a social worker. And, you know, granted, you just want to kind of get to know a person, but this dude was grilling me with questions. And I think that it was to find out how much money I was making. I'm sure that's what it was. And it was a real turnoff. Like, I was immediately turned off by this guy. Like, he was outwardly, his outward appearance was very attractive, but it was just so grotesque. I felt like that I was on a job interview. And I knew something was wrong. Let's see, did I know about narcissists then? I don't think so. I think that was before I knew. So obviously that didn't go anywhere. And we all ask questions, all of us do, especially I feel like more intelligent people that are like brainiacs, you know, like to study and research a lot. We do tend to ask more questions. Yet where it crosses the line is where it's, again, I use the word constant. It's constant. And it feels like you're being interrogated. It feels like you're kind of being grilled. That's where something's not right. And all narcissists, there's narcissists of all different kinds. They're collecting the information for all different kinds of reasons. If they're trying to find your vulnerabilities, that's because they want to use them against you. Like, say you're a woman that had a sexual assault or something like that, and you confide in them, they're going to use it against you. It's really sick, but that's exactly what they're going to do. Or if you confide in them, because a lot of times, this is my opinion, I think empaths, we want to find someone we can confide in and share and let them know the difficulties we've been through. But because oftentimes you're hungering for that so much, you might share too much too fast with the wrong person. So they're kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. You guys, when you see people that are kneading dough, it's like when you're around a person like this, it's like they're needing you because they want to get a little more, a little more. It's always another question about this. Oh, you quit your last job? Why did you quit? Did you like your boss? Did your boss like you? You know, really kind of weird, off-putting questions that don't really jive. But if your intuition is not as sharp, or you're just kind of off guard, or maybe you're really lonely, which a lot of us tend to be, I can admit myself, it just feels weird. Like, it's also, too, with the boundaries. It's a real boundary thing. So let's just say you just meet this guy, and you're a woman who wants to date a man, and oh, the world we're in now. So you want to meet him out for breakfast or something, and it goes too fast. There's actually some Netflix shows on, what was it called? Dear John? I actually watched that as recommended by a friend. It's like a whirlwind. Anyways, I don't want to get into too much of the love bombing, but what I want to talk about is that the data collection, information collection, it all intertwines with the love bombing. Absolutely. So you meet, like, you're a woman who's, kind of lonely and haven't had a relationship for a while, so you're all excited and giddy because it feels like so nice to be treated well and to get attention. And then it's just like, okay, we went out for breakfast. Let's go out tomorrow to the zoo or whatever. And it's like after, one after the other after the other. And in that time, they're asking you a lot of questions. You see, from a narcissistic point of view, what they're doing is they want to see how they can get narcissistic supply from you. Narcissistic supply can be so many things. I already covered that. But it could be they got kicked out from their last girlfriend. They need a place to live. That's a big one, actually. They lost their job. They need a place to live. Whatever it is, they want to find out, are you going to be good narcissistic supply? And that's why they're asking these questions. Hold on. Now, what really creeps me out, even when I was younger and I didn't know what this was, what used to creep me out, like when I was single, is when I would meet these guys that would ask these super boundary crossing questions right away. And what that is, and Ollie Matthews talked a lot about it, is they're shit testing you. They're testing you to see what you're going to tolerate and what you're going to put up with. I actually, how long ago was this? It was during the the COVID, and I met this guy at the laundromat, and initially he seemed cool because we were like what you call conspiracy theorists. So I agreed to meet him at his property, which is something that I usually would never do. Never, never, never. But I was bored, and didn't want to be in the house all the time, and he seemed safe. Like, as far as, I do feel like he was a safe guy. And I mean, I'm pretty sure I would have been able to figure something out if he wasn't. But I've got a good intuition as far as danger goes. He didn't seem dangerous. But when I tell you guys, this dude was just bam, 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 question after question after question after question. And I already knew, because I knew enough about these types of people, I knew that once I left his property, I'm never going to see him again. And I actually didn't even block his number because I thought, well, he didn't do anything crazy enough for me to block him. I was like, I'm not like that. And sure enough, I was right about him. Well, what I did when I got back, and I'll get back to the information collection, but what I did was I was really upset with myself that I let my guard down. Because, that's what happens when you're kind of lonely. And, well, for me, I'm in a new place. Well, it's not new anymore, but at the time I was in a new place. I had moved to a new area and everything. And what I told him when I got back from seeing him at the property, I sent him a text message, and I said, I don't think we're a good match. That's it. I knew what I was dealing with. I was like, that's all we need to say. It's only the second time I've had any interaction with this guy. So about a month or two later, I happened to be awake, which I'm usually not awake that late. But maybe I was watching something on television. This dude calls me at 2 a.m. And I didn't realize it was him because I had taken him out of my phone. I had taken his phone number, how you record, you save it in the number. And then he's like acting all weird. He says my name, and he's like, and initially I really didn't know who he was. I was like, who is this? Mistake number one, answering your phone at 2 a.m. But he was so weird. His voice sounded so freaking weird. And then he's like, he said his name. I don't remember his name at this point. It doesn't matter because he wasn't important enough for me to remember his name. But I was like, why are you calling me at 2 a.m? And then he's just talking all weird. And I was like, click, hung up right away. You see, 21-year-old me would never have done that because I just didn't know back then. And I made really poor choices, which now as I'm older, I'm trying to change it. But anyways, they ask way too many questions too fast. And even if you've been friends with someone for a long time, or even relatives, unfortunately for me, I learned that later. Like, the questions will be kind of weird. I had a situation with one person that was asking me a lot about my job. And, it was a job that I enjoyed, but it was really chaotic. A little stressful, not too bad. Very nice people I work with. The main people that I worked with made coming into the job decent for me. I was happy about that. But the question this person was asking me about my job was like, it was out of sorts. It was weird. It didn't fit. That's another thing. If they're asking you questions that don't kind of fit into something that makes sense to you, that's your intuition saying something's not right, which later I learned it was. Because this particular person that I want to get into, but this narcissist went on me later, did a complete word salad, which is some crazy shit because I didn't know what word salad was. It will confuse you. And I had it happen a few times. And that's a true giveaway when you realize that they're spewing out word salad. That's time for you to leave. But in that conversation, amongst the word salad, she was telling me how awful my job was and that it was a shit job and all this stuff. And that's because, one, it was narcissistic injury because she had to be the professional. She had to be this, she had to be that. And then secondly, I was no longer able to supply her with her narcissistic supply, the things that she was using me for. So data collection is like, man, they freaking thrive off of it. And me personally, man, I'm really thirsty. Hold on, guys. Me personally, I think that all the data collection that they're doing on you, it's a constant, and you will feel drained. It's really draining. I might do a video on this one. This actually, but you guys would probably be interested in the story. Quite a few years ago, I had a car accident. I'm okay. I'm totally my back was messed up and not 100% since, but I had a really crazy interaction with this man who hit my car. It's a real crazy story. Just glad I'm okay. And I did wind up getting a small settlement from it. But the guy that hit me, I'm not kidding you guys. I wish I could make this up. He was technically a Mexican drug dealer. And it was just such a wild, crazy thing. And he was decent to me. He was upset that he hit me. I was upset too. It was middle of a snowstorm. And in the midst of all of the insurance questions, and not insurance, but the questions that the lawyers give you when you're suing someone. In the midst of all of this, I got interrogated by the CIA. I'm not making this shit up. I wish I was. Honestly, in retrospect, I wish I could have recorded it. It was before everybody was streaming and YouTube and all that. I handled it like a frickin' champ. But the reason I bring that up is a lot of times when you're talking to people like this, it's kind of like an interrogation. One of my exes was like that. Where were you? Why did it take you so long? A lot of us probably been through that. But it's the questions never fit. They don't fit. Or I've also had experiences, where I actually did have some interactions with some of my professors that would ask oddball questions. And it's not that, but it just felt weird. And in the end, it did turn out like they just had an issue with me, which did happen because I don't tolerate bullcrap. When I was younger, I did, but as I got older, I was like, no, this is not going to happen. But that's how you learn about narcissism and toxicity, is because your intuition and your heart is telling you something's not right. So with the data collection, it'll just feel really weird. It won't add up. Like, if somebody's right off it doesn't matter if they're your relatives or potential romantic partner, a friend that you met at the grocery store, whatever it is, if they're asking you how much money you make, you should be kind of like a little nervous. Unless you super trust them. Say if it's your dad and you love your dad and you already know your dad has your best interest and he wants to help you with investments and things to secure your own future. If you already know that, then it's a little different. But sometimes people just straight up shouldn't be asking these questions. So, off the top of my head, I can't think of any other examples. So I hope that this gives you guys a good start on really just paying close attention to the kinds of questions people ask you. Me personally, I think the narcissist is mining that data from you so they can, one, use you for something, or two, blackmail you. And that's a fact. So I hope you all have a good day. There should be some more videos coming. Good day, good night, peace.